It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Right now on Fox 5 News at 10.
This summer could be murder on the roads.
This traffic stinks. It's terrible.
Fox 5 has exclusive information that you need to know.
Plus, suicide bombers strike again in Israel. Is New York their next target?
Make no mistake about it. The terrorists will strike again.
And the city's been warned about threats to the water supply. But did anyone listen?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Len Cannon.
And I'm Linda Schmidt. Thanks for joining us tonight. You would think that security would be job one at places as important as water facilities.
Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. Fox 5's Dick Brennan is at one of the city's reservoirs in the Bronx right now. Dick?
Yeah, Len, there are reservoirs in all 5 boroughs serving some 90 million people. We can tell you that this reservoir is presumably safe from a truck bomb. Of course, the issues are not bombs, it's poisons. The question is the city water supply safe? A state assembly investigation found inadequate security at all city reservoirs, including poor fencing, bad signs, and a lack of personnel.
If they determine, you can't stop them. You can deter them.
You do your best to deter them? This security worker at one reservoir didn't want to be identified, but says things have to change.
Everything could be beefed up. I mean, you've had cameras, heat sensors, anything.
Heat sensors?
Heat sensors, heat detectors, motion detectors.
The state found on average only about half of the city reservoirs were in compliance with security guidelines. Well, you've probably snuck into a few ball fields in the city in your life. Unfortunately, though, security here is no better. Check this out. Just slide through. One quick move. And you're past the first set of fences, at least.
We were able to visit and take pictures of the interior at 2 of these facilities, no questions asked.
At the Jerome Park Reservoir in the Bronx, there was an NYPD patrol car and some security, but residents aren't impressed.
At nighttime, it's very desolate here, and that security force really isn't going to do the trick.
I think it's dangerous. I drink bottled water.
Now, Assemblyman Klein says it wouldn't take much money to improve security here at these reservoirs. Of course, on the other hand, no matter how many fences you put up, anyone could buy wire cutters. We're live in the Norwood section of the Bronx. Dick Brennan, Fox 5 News. Linda, back to you.
Okay, Dick, thanks for that important information tonight. Well, tonight there is also a scary warning coming out of Washington. Vice President Dick Cheney says another terrorist attack on the United States is almost certain. Intelligence is getting a lot of signs that Al-Qaeda is up to something, and it could be as bad or worse than 9/11. But there isn't any specific information as to when or where. So all we can do right now is to be alert.
I think that the prospects of a future attack on the U.S. are almost a certainty. It could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week, it could happen next year. But they will keep trying, and we have to be prepared.
As far as the warnings received prior to September 11th, Cheney says there's no way President Bush had enough information to prevent those attacks.
There's been another suicide bombing in Israel. This time, a Palestinian bomber struck in the coastal town of Netanya. The bomber was disguised as an Israeli army officer. He blew himself up in a produce market. 2 people were killed. More than 50 were injured. Just a few hours later, Israeli tanks rolled into Ramallah. Linda?
Len, some think it is only a matter of time before we start seeing suicide bombings right here. So a handful of New York's finest have gone to Israel for elite terror training. Fox 5's James Ford has more.
If Grand Central looks just like a train station to you, look again. Violence in the Middle East sends a new message to think of places like this as terrorism targets. Sunday's terror attack in Israel could be the latest wake-up call to New Yorkers.
But make no mistake about it. The terrorists will strike again.
Counterterrorism analyst and author Harvey Kushner says attacks like the one in Netanya, Israel will happen here in New York.
It's a terrorist scrapping 40 pounds of explosives in a crowded theater or in a supermarket.
Those threats where you shop and play are why NYPD has 5 counterterrorism agents training in Israel this week.